Hi, folks. We're back again. It's IXL A4 today. We're going to convert between decimals and fractions. So let's get started. See how long it takes me. 1/100th is 0.01. 0.01. 1/100th. Let's see here. 3/5 is 0.6. I'm just multiplying. By the way, I'm changing these to tenths. Oops, let me write it down. 3/5, and I'm multiplying by 2 in the numerator and the denominator, and I get 6/10. And that's how we read. Let's see if it'll let me now. Oh, there we go. 0.6. That is 6/10. So I'm going to write some of it down for you so that you can see what I'm doing. 1/2, of course, is 0.5. You guys know about that. 50%, 50 cents, 5/10. Lots of ways to read it. This is -1/4. -1. Oop, I said negative. -1/4. That's -1/4. -1.9. Giving me trouble here. There we go. -1.9. There we go. 1 and -1 9/10. That's how you read it. -2. Negative. Come on. Oh, doesn't want to go. There we go. -2. And 9/100ths is 0.9. Now we have to put a mixed number, so we're supposed to put the -2, give it a space, and 1/50th. I don't know whether you're supposed to reduce or not. Let's assume. Now this one, 20ths. Notice 20ths, 19/20. You see, 20ths I think of as nickels, just like if we have quarters, I think of them as 25 cents. These are worth 5 cents each. And since I'm 1 nickel short of $1, I'm talking about 95 cents. Now, a good way to write it is 95/100. And I got that by multiplying by 5, and you get, let me get rid of this. Oh, here we go. -3.95. Lots of ways of thinking about it. As a mixed number, that's 4 2/10, but 4 1/5 when you reduce it. 6.5 is, of course, 6.5. 6 39/50. Now for 39/50, we just need to change it to hundredths. And to do that, you have to multiply by a number in the numerator and the denominator. So we're talking about hundreds, and that makes 78 hundredths. So we're talking about 6. I better erase that. Hang on just a second. There we go. Talking about 6.78 for a decimal. -1/4 is -1/4. So we have a -0.25. Guess I didn't need the 0. Now, 0.125. This happens to be eighths, and I know it. I could write it 100. I wrote that. One, come on. What's wrong with you? Oh, I see. 125 thousandths, and then reduce. But it's much easier if you just memorize your eighths. You see 1/8 and 3/8 and 5/8 and 7/8 have a pattern. And it's pretty easy. It's 0.1, 0.3, and 5/8, 0.5, and 7/8, 0.7, and there's 2 more decimal places. For this one, it's 1/4, which is 25. This one is 3/4, which is 75. This one is 5/4, which is 125, which makes this one a 6. And this one is 175, which makes this one an 8. Anyway, that's how I memorize it. It's 12.5%, or in this particular case, let me erase this real quick. We've got 7 and 1/8. You want to memorize that. That 1/8 is 0.125. 3/4. So we're talking about 71. You have to put a space for your mixed number. 3/4. There we go. And what's next? This is one of my favorites. This one is the 5/8. Like I said, this is actually negative 5/8. So for the same reason, -5. Oh, I said negative. 5/8. 12.25, of course. That's a comma, 0.25. 34 and 3/5. That's 6/10, but 6/10 reduces to 3/5. So we're talking about 34 and 3/5. 31/40 is a little tougher. So 31, let's take a look. Come on now. There we go. 31/40. Most people just grab their handy dandy calculator and get something pretty close to 0.75. There's another way to go. I think it's 0.7525, but let's take a look and find out. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to multiply this by 5. And you'll see in a minute why I'm going to do that. That happens to be 155, right? And this happens to be 200. Now, when I divide this by 2, it's going to be 72.5 over 100, which happens to be 0.725, which is not right. What did I do wrong? Oh, 77.5. There it is. 77.5. So it's, sorry about that, 2.775. 7/8, that's the 0.875 that I told you about. That is negative 81.875. Notice that there's an 8 and a 7 in there for the 7/8. Almost done. Oh, okay. Now I've got a little problem. I've got a 5, oops, come here. 5, I said 5961 over 10,000. Now, I don't see any really nice numbers here. 11, 21. So 3 goes in there. That's not a big help. Well, let's try writing it just the way it's written, just to see how it goes. So let me get rid of that. Okay. So let's just type it the way it's written. It's -1 and 5961 10,000ths. No nice No nice divisors there. Looks like we might be doing the same thing, although this one can be reduced. I don't know if you have to reduce it or not. It's going to be an ugly reduction. We could divide by 5. Let's just try it without reducing. If we get it wrong, we'll reduce it. Otherwise, I'll use the calculator because this one's kind of strange looking. 8875 over 10,000. Too many. Looks good. Yeah, just going to write it as a 10,000 there. We could have reduced it though. 61 over 80 as a decimal now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take 61 over 80. And there's a lot of ways to go here. I'm going to go ahead and multiply numerator and denominator. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm just going to multiply this one by 5. And you'll see why in a minute. So that happens to be 305. And in the denominator, we've got 400. Now, basically, I'm looking at dividing by 4. So I'm going to put my 4 into 3.05. Now 4 happens to go in 7 times, and I'm left with 25. And 4 goes in 6 times, and I'm left with 1. And 4 goes in twice, 5. Okay, so this decimal happens to be the same as this division. What I did was move the decimal back 2 places and do the division as a decimal division. A little strange, but there it is. Would have been a lot easier to use a calculator, but it's fun to mess around with the numbers sometimes. So we've got 7.7625. Hopefully I didn't make an error. And any more? Oh, there we go. Oh, now this one's not so bad. 397 over 500. So I want to turn it into thousands. So you guessed it, we're going to multiply by 2. And 2 of these is almost 800. So it's going to be 794. Yep. 794 thousandths. So we've got, keep doing that. We've got 63.794. There we go. And any more? Oh, there's another one. Oh, 5/8. Do you remember 5/8? Let's see. 5, dang it, keep doing that. 5/8. Remember, it's got the 0.5, but then we've got 5 quarters to add in. So that becomes the 625. Anyway, it happens to be negative 392, 392.625. Again, a lot of people grab their calculator, probably not a good plan. A lot better to memorize your decimals and fractions if you can. Let's see now. Oh, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and not reduce it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to put it in the way it is. So we got a negative 475 thousandths. It doesn't require that you reduce them, apparently. Oh, I like that one. 11 over 40 as a decimal. So we've got 11 over 40. Again, a couple of ways to go. I'm going to multiply by 5. I said 5. And I'm going to get 55 over 200. Now I'm going to divide by 2. And I'm going to get 27.5 over 100, which moves my decimal 2 places. So we've got 2.2 7.5. Any more? Maybe one more. Oh, I'm not going to reduce this one. I'm just going to leave it alone. Negative 48 and 706 over 1,000. Yep. Now this one's 875 over 10,000. So I'm going to show you something. So I've got 875 over 10,000. Okay, 10,000, there it is. So what I've got here is almost 7/8. But we've got an extra 10 in the denominator, so it's 7 over 80. So let's give it a try. Let's see if that's right. I've got 9. Get rid of that. 9 and 7 over 80. Now we could have just left it alone too. And I think that was the last one. That was it. Yay, all done. So I hope that helped a little bit. Anyway, obviously a lot of 8s in there. I kind of like those 8s. They're kind of fun. So hope you had help. Hope that helped a little, and good luck.